Have you ever finished an edit, played it back, and everything's clean and all the clips fit, but you just don't feel anything from it? That's because you're cutting to the beat and not the emotion. And in today's video, I'm going to be going over how to edit for emotion. Not just matching your footage up to the song, but telling a story through timing, pacing, silence, and flow. You know, the real stuff that hits the audience, giving them goosebumps and everything.
I have goosebumps. Feel.
Cutting to the beat is probably one of the first thing all of us editors learn how to do. You drop your song into the timeline, find the kicks, the snares, the beat drops, and it all lines up in your timeline like a puzzle. And to be fair, this method always works. It's instantly satisfying. That's why trailers, music videos, TikToks, and even commercials rely on this technique so heavily. But here's the catch. Rhythm can be a crutch in your entire vibe. When you're only focused on cutting to the beat, you're not really telling anything, you're just following a guide. But for each technique that you apply while editing, you should ask, does it actually make the edit feel like something more than just footage laid out on a timeline? And if it doesn't, what else could you do? This is where emotional editing comes in. Instead of syncing your cuts to the music, you sync them to a feeling. You're letting the emotion of the moment guide your pacing, timing, and cuts. It could also mean cutting away early to create surprise or break any unintended tensions. Or you could just pause the music completely, letting a single sound like a breath or a pin drop to create your own bridge. Suddenly, your edit won't just be matching the tempo of the beat, but telling an actual story, even if the clips are completely unrelated. Emotional editing doesn't just show you what's happening on screen, but it reminds the audience on why what's happening matters. So in more detail, what are some methods where you can edit with emotion? Here are a few core tools that will help you shift your edit from mechanical to meaningful. Pacing. Fast pacing builds energy and slow pacing builds weight. Holding on a shot for just a second longer than expected can create tension, intimacy, or even discomfort. It all depends on the style you're working in. Silence. To pull off silence, you need to think of it as your own bridge in the song. When the beat drop in a song is about to come in, the drums start building, maybe a little riser action, and then it drops. All that space is the bridge in a song. So when you want that moment of silence, don't be afraid to pull the music out whenever and create your own bridge. Let the sound of some wind, maybe a breath, or like a chair squeak, any real raw sound effect to fill in that bridge. Silence doesn't mean completely silent. It means an opportunity for suspense.
Sound design.
Layering textures and sounds that match the emotional tone is a great way to pull off emotional editing. A subtle ambient swell, some distant reverb, or even a dry close-up mic Foley can make a moment feel way more personal or intense.
The contrast.
Use movement versus stillness in your clips, loud versus quiet moments in your track, or even bright versus dark color grades. Cutting from something extremely overwhelming to something still, or even vice versa, can create a huge emotional pivot within your story.
J-cuts and L-cuts.
These are your flow tools, letting sound or dialogue bleed across cuts to carry emotional weight between scenes. It makes everything feel a lot more intentional and meant to be there. And emotional editing isn't about using all of these techniques at once. It's about knowing which of these sub-techniques to use and when to use it. To really show the difference, let's break down a clip two ways. One edited to the beat and one edited to the emotion. First, the beat-based version. It hits every drop and the transitions are tight. Don't get me wrong, it looks very clean with the music, but it's somewhat predictable. There's not really any surprises, there's no tension, and there's just no real feeling behind each cut. To simply put it, it does the job. Now here's the same music and the same clips, but applied the sub-techniques that I talked about earlier. So in this, I can already tell that the shots are slowed down, giving each clip more time. The music fades away at its key moments. And in my opinion, one of the most impactful shots from this version was holding on to the silence and just focused on the ambient sounds before bringing us right back into the music and the vibe. So from one mid-edit to a lot more impactful version using the same material, just this time using emotional editing techniques. This approach immediately gives you more control, more depth, and a way more personal edit. Now, just to be clear, beat-based editing isn't wrong. Sometimes it's exactly what the moment and vibe are calling for. Like I mentioned earlier, high-energy trailers wouldn't work without beat-based editing, or intense montages, music videos, or just fast-paced content in general. But emotional editing shines when there's more to say visually and creatively, like when you want to build tension, reflection, or even meaning. I find it works best in story-driven pieces, personal edits, big cinematic projects, or anything where meaning matters more than just a flash of visual information. You should let the beat guide the structure of your entire video, but then bend it when the moment calls for something a little more. It's not about hitting every drop in the beat, it's about asking, what do I want the viewer to feel right here? Then using the tools of timing, pacing, silence, and sound to actually build that feeling. After chopping and timing up your footage, watch it back with no audio at all. And if it still lands emotionally and contextually, you're doing something right. If you're working on a super cool project right now, let me know in the comments. I would love to read them. I've got a whole lot more videos on the way and a bunch of shorts planned out, so if you want to see more, please subscribe. And don't forget to remind yourself when you're nose deep in the timeline, the rest are just tools.